how I found harmony with myself. Let me paint you a picture. What do you do when you are doing everything right and you are still getting hurt? What is it all for? Today, we are going to get vulnerable, and together, I'm going to take you on my journey of my spiritual and emotional healing. And by the end, you are going to have a tool that you can use to go through your own journey and find your own harmony within. Throughout my life, it's been very important to me that I do everything right. This is to help me not get in trouble and to stay safe. And when we have people in our lives that we love, we want to do a good job for them. We want to love them. We want them to feel loved. We want to get love in return. And whether it's a romantic relationship or a work relationship, we are still giving of ourselves, of our time, of our energy to create a relationship that is going to keep us safe and happy and loved and take us from now to the end of time. But what happens when you do everything right and it still doesn't work? For me, I was at this point in my life where there was a fork in the road. And I had two people in my life that were the most important to me. And it's really interesting the way a spiritual journey can happen, because when you are ready to learn and grow and be more, do more, have more, the universe kind of offers up to you an opportunity for healing. So for me, when I'm looking at this place in my life and I want to be that bigger, better, expanded version of myself, there were some things that needed to be healed. And the way that those opportunities were presented to me was by the two people that I loved and respected the most. Both made me choose them or me. It was really interesting that within a 12-hour period, I had a conversation with one person and they said to me, "Shannon, you need to choose. Are you going to do my thing or are you going to do your thing?" For that relationship, it wasn't possible for me to choose myself. And so a little part of me felt trapped. 12 hours later, I had another conversation with the other person in my life. And they said to me, "No, if you're going to be you, then I'm not part of it. I don't want it." I was devastated. I went home and I want to tell you what happened to me on 3 different levels. One was physically. Physically, I collapsed to the floor. My knees didn't even have enough energy to keep my legs straight to hold me up. I physically fell to the floor and I cried. I cried like I had never cried before. The beautiful thing about this particular experience is that I've been on a healing journey for most of my life. And so I knew that even through this incredible pain, I would be okay. So emotionally, I'm devastated. The two people I love and respect the most had betrayed me. They made me choose not me. I didn't feel like I was in a place where I could really choose me. How does that happen when you're in a loving relationship? Surely the people who are in your life love you for who you are and what you do and not who they want you to be, right? So in this moment, I am collapsed on the floor, crying like I'd never cried before. And I had one goal in my head, and that was to not hyperventilate and pass out, because I was in my room all alone. There was nobody around. I ended up being on that floor for 3 days, crying, trying to stay conscious. And all the while, something spiritual happened, because there was a part of me that was outside of myself watching, knowing that I was going to be okay, watching over me and making sure that I was going to make it through this horrible time in my life. It was the most traumatic point of my life where all of this stuff kind of came together. But this part of me was watching to make sure that I would be safe and that I would make it through. And I knew, even as I'm on the floor gasping for air, I knew I was going to be okay. And so I allowed myself to have this experience of these 3 days lying on the floor, crying, allowing this energy to move through my body. And if you've watched these other videos on this channel, you'll know that it's very important to me that we let emotions move through us. And even though this was the most intense feeling I'd ever had, the most pain I'd ever felt in my life, I knew that all I had to do was let it move through me. And for 3 days, this energy moved through me. So many things went through me: sadness, betrayal, lack of love, so many layers of betrayal and a lot of gunk. We'll just say a lot of gunk. But I let it move through me because I knew I was going to be okay. And it was really interesting to have that kind of outside higher self watching over me, just kind of coaching me through. I knew it was going to be okay. I knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel as long as I stayed present and allowed this energy to move through me. So now it's the end of the 3 days. I finally have allowed this energy to move through my body, all these different layers. And I got up, I got some water, and I went and sat on my bed. And I knew that I just wanted to pull myself together. And a lot of times what happens in trauma is there's these little parts of us that kind of break off. And the reason that happens is to keep us safe in our everyday lives. If we were constantly in that trauma response, then we wouldn't be able to have any kind of life here on earth because we'd constantly be traumatized. So in order to protect us, our energy, our psyche kind of breaks off a little bit, and those parts of us are holding on to the trauma for us so that we're not having it right here in this conscious moment. And I knew that I needed to bring, or that I was ready to bring, all these pieces back to me. I was ready to pull myself together, to bring myself home. And so I sat on my bed and I put on some meditation music and I allowed myself to go within. And so I've already worked through a lot of this physical, emotional stuff, and now I'm going to work on the spiritual side of this journey. And here's the beautiful thing. So much healing can happen in this spiritual place, whether you are someone who's into meditation or prayer, or maybe you don't have a spiritual practice, but you are ready to use your imagination to create lasting change in your life. What I did is I sat on my bed and I did this meditation, and I decided to have a family meeting. So I created a space in my mind that would be for all the parts of me from my past, all those younger parts that were ever hurt. In this vision, it was a fire pit with those logs all around in a circle. So all the little parts of me could come and sit down on those little logs. So what I did is I invited every part of me that ever felt hurt, betrayed, sad, discounted, like they weren't enough, like nothing they did was good enough. Every single part of me from my entire lifetime, I just said, hey girls, come on in, come join me, let's have a family meeting. And the interesting part was all these versions of me from all ages came and sat down around this campfire, but there was one part of me that didn't join the circle, and she was kind of standing off to the side, off to the left. She didn't want to join, and that was a 15-year-old version of me. And I saw her over there in my imagination, and I invited her over. And it was really interesting getting to have a conversation with that 15-year-old self and learning about why she didn't want to join, why she wasn't ready to have the healing, and really connecting with her. So there's this idea that all these different parts of us throughout our lifetime hold a consciousness from our lives. And so having this conversation with this 15-year-old version of me, I was able to find out what she was holding on to. And for her, she was the protector. She was the one that needed to protect all the younger selves to make sure that they didn't get hurt. She still felt like it was her responsibility. There was a part of me that was still stuck in this 15-year-old version of me where there was a situation that happened where I froze. I couldn't do what I needed to do to reach safety or to get help. And so being able to have this moment with her and heal the sadness, the betrayal, the parts of her that weren't allowed to be her. It's interesting, when I was 15 years old, another person in my life who I very much loved and respected told me that they were disappointed in who I had become. And so there was a part of me that really shut down at that age, and she was still holding on to it. So here in this space, in this safe space that I'd created in my mind, in my imagination, in this spiritual space, I was able to tell her it's not her job anymore, that me as the adult, I'm stronger now. I do have the love that I need. I do have the support that I need, and she doesn't need to hold on to it anymore. And it's so interesting. This is all happening in my imagination, but on a very real level, it's happening inside my body. And to feel her collapse into me and to lean into my arm and finally feel that relief of being allowed to be herself and having all these other parts of me be able to be part of that and to draw them back in to create a new wholeness in my life that I had been missing for a very long time felt incredible. And if you do any kind of work with law of attraction or energy, you know that it's all about the feelings. It's not what we think. It's not that I was imagining these things, but in my mind, as I'm feeling these emotions of feeling whole and understood and validated, these chemicals are being released in my body. My brain doesn't know that this isn't really happening for reals. So in my whole mind, body, energy system, this is really happening, and I'm feeling the most love I have ever felt in my life. I am feeling supported, seen, understood, validated, all those things I had been needing and wanting, and it was all coming from me. So the after effect of all of this is through that situation, through that incredible pain, through that healing, through that bringing together of all those parts of me, I'm stronger, I'm more confident. The love that I have comes from within me. I don't need an outside force to tell me that I'm loved. I am the love. And so I share this story with you to offer up the opportunity for you, if you've been wanting to be on a journey, a spiritual healing journey or an emotional healing journey, to let you know, number one, you're going to make it through. You're going to be okay. It's going to work out in the end where there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So to have that courage to take that first step, whether you do it by yourself or whether you choose somebody else that can love and support you through it, there are so many trauma-informed therapists and coaches and healers that can support you. And I want you to know that you can do it. You are absolutely worth it. And the superhero ability that you will gain from coming through it will be something you never even imagined was possible for you. And it will feel like the most incredible feeling you've ever felt in your life. Thank you so much for being part of this video, for allowing me to be vulnerable and share part of my story with you. If you like this video, please check out our next video, How Do I Calm My Mind for Sleep? This has been A Ray of Sunshine. See you in the next video.